Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. So, this one's going to be a shorter one today. Avs lost 4-2 to the Buffalo Sabres. Um, I mean, God, I just there's I'm not really I'm not in, like I'm going to keep it brief on the breakdown today. Usually, I do a breakdown and I kind of analyze things step by step. Um, I'm just going to. It's late. So I'm just going to get into it. So the first goal, bad. Don't leave. I was talking about all day leading up to the game. Got to be tight defensively. Tight defensively is not leaving Tage Thompson wide open, cutting to the net. And Mikko Rantanen unfortunately did that, and it led to a goal against because Tage Thompson is in fact very good. Then the Avs got a power play afterwards. One of the better power plays they've had in a while. Was not very good. And then they just could not score. They had some decent chances. The problem is that once they get out of the zone, they have a hard time getting back in and doing anything afterwards. But I thought the first unit was the best it's looked in a while. So yeah. And then they give Buffalo a power play. This one I thought was a weird, I don't know, on site I was like, I could have seen I saw why they called it too many men. It was just a little weird, just considering, the guy never touched the puck, and it felt like a pretty normal change to me. But the Avs too many men struggles will never cease to stop. Apparently, that doesn't make sense. Never cease. Never cease. Whatever. I'll just go with that. And then they get a power play where they actually the Sabres get a power play, which the Avs actually do a pretty good job killing. But focus. There you go. But they make one mistake. Devon does not cover not Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch. And I mean, Alex Tuch is a good enough player, and he's big and large, so he's just gathered the rebound and put it past Georgiev. Not really like anything I think Georgiev you want differently on either of those two. I know some people said maybe I guess I can understand the rebound, but it's a screenshot. It happens. A goaltender needs his defense to cover for them sometimes. They got another power play, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember this power play at all. I'm just trying to think because I just don't remember. I think God, I just don't remember it at all. I don't know why. I don't know. Whatever. That one was actually pretty okay too. Clearly, because I remember it so well. I thought the first period on the whole solid from the Avs part. They controlled possession. They got some good chances. My biggest problem with them was two things. They kept hitting Ukko-Pekka in the chest, which, I understand he doesn't have the greatest numbers this year, but he still is a solid object, so things aren't going to pass through him. And then they just too many defensive lapses in the worst areas that you could have them, and they lead to goals. So, and then started the second, the Avs get a penalty. They kill it off pretty well. I thought that was a really nice kill. As the game went on, they started dominating more and more. Granted, a lot of that is they're losing, but I mean, I don't think they were the worst. They were the inferior team at any real stage of the game outside of the three moments that led to goals. The Avs, I don't think the Avs played well. I think they were better than the Sabres in their process and stuff. In ways. But I don't think they were as good as they needed to be or should have been. But I don't think they were awful. I'll get into a little bit of that later. Second period, I thought that was all Avs. They were dominating. They had some nice chances in that period as well. If I just look at, it was. I don't think it was better than the first, but I think, I think it was solid. They had 4 high danger chances for in that period, but they only kept the Sabres to 1. So they definitely felt a need to kind of um, slow the events, like keep the events to a minimum. And they still had a decent amount of chances. But then Cale Makar, hard forecheck by Tyson Jost, loses the puck, and I think it was Jost that made the pass. I think it might have been Olsen. I think it was Jost though. Rasmus Dahlin found himself wide open and just picked a spot and scored. Nothing you really want from Georgiev there either. Cale Makar just needs to be better. You can't lose that puck battle. He probably shouldn't have gotten into a battle anyways, but he just lost it cleanly for no reason, even though he had clean possession, and the Avs were in a big hole. And in my mind, that didn't really end the game, but it also didn't, it was technically it was the game-winning goal, but I think it was kind of that put it really like out of grasp for this lineup. Third period was all Avs. I mean, some of that was I think that period was more score effects than obviously than the other two. The Buffalo was kind of turtling a little bit. And the Avs had a lot of chances. They just could not score. Buffalo literally had 0. So, the Avs did score. They just couldn't score enough. Because Mikko Rantanen on a 2-on-1. Nuke made a great pass to him. It was a nice saucer pass. I thought UPL originally saved it. He did not. Mikko just kind of powered it through to break the ice for the Avs. And then with a minute and a half left, Evan Rodrigues found a rebound to cut it to 1 goal. But this is something I'm going to talk about for a little bit. Devon Taves made a bad turnover right off the faceoff and just ended any chance of tying the game before it even could have really started. I don't think the Avs played poorly. I don't think they played well either. It was just kind of one of those games where it was like just not enough, but they didn't I wouldn't say they deserve to lose the game. I wouldn't say they deserve to win the game, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, for the most part, they were the better team. And I understand, there's some score effects after, because Buffalo got up 2-0 within like the first 10 minutes. But also, like, there's 50 minutes of hockey left. And even in those 10 minutes, outside of those 2 moments, the Avs were the better team. So I just it was like a weird thing. They couldn't execute. They were extremely sloppy with the puck, which is something I found incredibly frustrating, especially in the third period. They just were not making good decisions with it. They were constantly getting their passes broken up because they were just forcing things. I felt like I don't think this is any sort of games like these happen. Unfortunately, it's always it feels like with the Avs, one guy has a sloppy game. Well, their stars have a sloppy game, and then everyone else does too, and it just kind of just doesn't that don't work. I'm sorry. But it was it was just I don't know, it's hard to explain. I think the effort was good. I don't think the Avs weren't trying. I just think they were just a touch off, and I think part of that is just games like that happen. No matter what, there's just some games where you're just not quite on it, which doesn't mean it's okay, but it's not like the end of the world. I also think that's partially, a new guys in the lineup. I think that had something to do with it. My big thing that really did it was the fact that Bednar could not pick a solid 4 lines for an extended period of time. It felt like I was seeing a new line out there every time. And I'm like, look, you just have to roll some lines at a point. This has always been something I've been frustrated with Bednar. Sometimes he gets so impatient and these guys don't build chemistry. And it's like, this isn't working. This constant shuffling is working worse than keeping these lines together. Like, let them work through some of their problems. I understand, you're down 2-0 and you're maybe feeling the heel a little bit, but you're still being the better team. You're not like, these goals aren't coming from, these dudes just not knowing how to play together. It was frustrating to see that, because I just don't think, especially when you're adding a new guy into the lineup back again, I just think you're just asking for problems. And I definitely saw at some points there were guys running into each other. It was just it was just confusing. But it's just what he does, I guess. I don't know. The big thing to me was the puck control. I don't think they controlled the puck well. The big, I think, Mikko made some bad plays with the puck. Devon Toews was probably the worst, better player with the puck, I thought, tonight. It's like he was just, especially in that third period, constant turnovers. He would just turning over the puck. I mean, and they weren't always even turnovers. It was just like these plays where he's just like, the clock's too slow or something, and he's passing right to a Sabre stick, and it's like, it's just not going to work, dude. And it happened at the end of the game. I don't know. It just felt like they were just a touch off. I think, like, for the Stars, I think Nuke was okay. I thought he was a bit sloppy with the puck as well, but at least he has an excuse. Mikko was a bit sloppy with the puck, but I thought he was hard on the forecheck, and outside of the Tage Thompson goal, I liked his defensive effort. He made some nice breakups and was playing physically, and he wasn't awful offensively. I think he was making some passes harder than they needed to be. It happens. Mikko's been, this wasn't an awful Mikko game. It's below what you expect, but it's not one that's going to brutally sink the team. At least it shouldn't. I mean, when he's been carrying this team offensively for the past few games, like, you knew a game, a not dominant Moose game was going to come eventually, and that was kind of tonight. Like I said, I don't think it was awful. I don't think he was good enough. My real problem with the Stars, like I said, was Cale Makar. I didn't mention him. I don't think he was bad really on either side of the puck. Again, outside of the goal, which, I mean, like I say, outside of the goal, but that's how the game's decided. Like, goals are, you can't just be like, well, if you get rid of the most important part of the game, he was fine. But I mean, if that goal never happens, if maybe even Darling hits the post, you're like, on the night, you're probably more fine with Cale Makar. Like, that's not a good moment, but he just needs, like, I don't know if it's his confidence. I feel like he's not walking the puck in as much. He's not, the shots aren't as dangerous. I don't know what it is. He needs to figure out a way to be more potent offensively, because I don't think his defensive effort has been bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's been more than fine. There's some lapses, but those are players. Players have those. I just think this team needs him to be better offensively. Maybe I don't know. He just hit a lull at a bad time. But he needs to kind of find that Cale Makar energy. I tweeted that it seemed like he got monstered a little bit. Someone might have taken his talent. So just annoying to see. I'm just waiting for him to go out and kick some ass one of these nights. Again, I miss the old Cale Makar. It'll come eventually, hopefully. I think, Devon Toews doesn't often have games like this. He was sloppy. I don't think he was. I don't know. I don't think he was great defensively. Like, there were some plays where I was like, "What are you doing?" But like, the Avs just weren't playing defense very much, so it's really hard to judge the defense. I mean, obviously that one goal, part of it is the Avs system, but I think just Taves needs to do a better job there. And I mean, he's also a little bit outmatched. Tuck is a big guy. Taves is not a big, strong physical defenseman. So that's just, a battle more out of, 10 times out of, I would say like 7 times out of 10, he's probably going to lose. But if he's on the right side of Tuck, on his stick side, that makes the battle a lot easier for him. So that made life a little bit hard. Sorry, I got a canker sore. It's bugging me. Ugh. I need some breathers every now and then. Crap, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's just I think the turnovers were really the sinker for the Avs tonight. There were times where they were just turning the puck over, and in the third period especially. I thought they just got too sloppy. They were dumping the puck in when they didn't need to. They were forcing passes that they didn't need to. I don't think Sam Girard was brutally bad. I know people weren't a fan of him today. I don't some people were saying, oh, he wasn't great with the puck. I was like, yeah, that is something I've noticed. I think his puck work has been a bit off lately, for sure. But I've liked his defense. I know, like, some people were complaining. The first one to me just comes down to Mikko. You don't let Tuck go wide open. There's really nothing there. And then he wasn't at fault for either of the other goals. And I mean, I thought Comfer was okay tonight. I thought he played a lot of minutes. There's always these times where I just get frustrated with him because it's like, okay, shoot the puck sooner, please. Thank you. Yeah. I am getting a little bit tired of Andreas Englund. The shine has worn off of him. Jean-Luc Foudy and Charles Hudon, they don't work as fourth liners. I just don't think. I think those are speed guys, and those guys often, they're used to getting minutes. And like even since they've been up with the Avs, they've been getting minutes and they've been showing well. I think that when you're not getting a lot of minutes, sometimes it's hard. And I mean that doesn't like excuse it, but I feel like maybe sometimes it's harder to stay engaged. Sometimes it's your legs get a little bit, the lactic acid builds up, and when you're a speed guy, it makes it a little bit harder to excel at what you're good at. But that's really they barely played, so it's like not a huge deal. It's just a little unfortunate because I've liked them so much since then, since they've been up. But it's just I don't know. I've liked Ben Myers. He missed a few chances, but he's been dangerous. I liked him defensively. I mean, like I said, I just don't think there's a lot to talk about. The Avs had good chances. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen stopped most of them, so credit to him. The Avs could have done more to make his life harder. I felt like they missed nets and shots when they could have been goals. The being goalied kind of is it's a two-part thing, because credit to the goalie, he's making good saves, he's doing a good job. People will often look at an Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, not great numbers this year. I don't care. He played well tonight. Like, this is the thing with goalies. NHL goalies, any of them can get hot. Like, it just happens. Just because they have a bad, raw stat line coming into a game doesn't mean they're automatically going to be bad. There's always been something, this is why I've never been like super confident in any game, because I know how goalies be doing. It was just a good game from him. The Avs could have probably scored more goals if they had shot better, but sometimes a goalie does well and you don't do as well. Yeah, God, I just don't know how much there is to talk about here. Alex Newhook, I don't think he was bad tonight. He needs to be a more consistent player because it's too I don't think he was bad. He was quiet. He wasn't confident. He just needs to trust in himself and string together good games, where he's being, a threat and stuff more consistently. I think they should put him back with Evan Rodrigues. I don't know how much time those two actually played together tonight because, let me see. They played 6 minutes together, and they did okay in those 6 minutes. Not exceptional. So I don't know. I keep waiting for him to, have like a handful of games in a row where he just keeps going. Like I said, I thought Georgiev was good. He made some nice saves. It's unfortunate because, given the shot count and the quality that he faced, you probably don't love the fact that he didn't save one of them. But the expected goals was 2.71. That's right there. You're not expecting him to save any of the initial shots. It's just he played well. I don't think he was dominant. He didn't really have a chance to be, unfortunately. Sometimes that just happens with goalies. You get hung out to dry, but at the same time, your team plays good hockey, except for at the critical moments. And I think that was the problem with the Avs tonight. He'll probably get the start against the Predators. I'd like to see that. Glad he switched his pads back. I tweeted it out on the Cake Eaters account. I did say this on a podcast before. He needs to switch his pads back. It kind of worked. I think I'm going to stop wearing this EJ jersey because unless it's against the Stars, it's cursed. I should have known. So my sincerest apologies. Like I said, this is a shorter podcast. My most disappointing player was Taves. Mikko had that one mistake and Cale had the one mistake. They at least had points afterwards. And I don't think that was a consistent problem. I think Taves made that bad defensive play. He was consistently turning pucks over, or at least, not connecting on passes. And I just wasn't a fan of him. My 3 stars, I'm going to give honorable mention. Who do I don't even really know if there's someone I feel confident giving honorable mention to. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. 3rd star, I'll give it to Nuke. He made a really nice pass. I thought he was good on the forecheck. Wasn't a fan of him on the puck. I'll give honorable mention to Mikko. I thought he played good. Not as good as he can or should have, but good enough. He was a bit sloppy, like I said, but he also scored a goal that he just kind of powered through. Luukkonen. So that was good. 2nd star, I'll give to Georgiev because I thought he played well, but I just don't think he did make some nice saves. He made a nice little glove save on Tage Thompson. So he didn't it wasn't like every high danger chance he saw he let in. It just, unfortunately, 3 extremely talented players were found in extremely high danger scenarios, and they don't always convert on those, but tonight they did, and that's not really to the fault of Georgiev. I think I liked Erod. I thought he was the 1st star. I think he lacks a bit of confidence. That was a problem that I saw with not just him, but a few guys. But, and it's kind of, it's not something he's never done before, but there was a lot of times where he, and like I said, other players too, would go wide and they'd cut back. And I'm like, dude, just keep going. Like, I don't know if he's like scared because of injury or if he's just not as confident. But yeah, that was the only problem I had with him. I thought he made some nice defensive plays. He was playing physically. Um, and he had a goal in his game back. That's always good. Come Saturday, I think the pod's gonna be either really late or on Sunday. So just so you guys know. Some other things I liked. I like Sam Girard. I don't even know who he crunched, but he absolutely murdered somebody. Yeah, I mentioned Georgiev's glove save. One thing I did not like was when the ref blew the whistle for a Sabres penalty when the Avs had clear possession of it. That's just unacceptable, to be quite honest. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't even know what he saw, to be completely fair. I don't know, how much of, an impact that would change, but the Avs had clear possession. So, I mean, and they were kind of cycling a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I just don't have a lot of thoughts. The Avs got kind of goalied. They played a bit of a sloppy game. It's unfortunate because, some other people have mentioned this, and I've been kind of, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I've kind of been championing this for a little bit. That, everybody's like, well, the Avs are still hurt, they're without some of these guys. And I'm like, yeah, but they're also talented enough that like they should be better. I mean, obviously, like, it takes a minute. Nukes obviously was out for a little bit, so Erod kind of was too. So they're getting their legs back under them and stuff like that. But I mean, and against the Sabres, the Sabres aren't like the Sabres of years past. They're a talented team. They have talent. Their talent showed up tonight when it mattered most. The Avs just weren't as good. But they need to start winning some of these games against some of these tougher opponents. You can't just beat, the Flyers because let's see, who else do they play this coming up here? I know I keep like throwing out some names. Nashville. Nashville has been okay. They're 500. That's a game you need to win after dropping this one. People have mentioned, the Avs don't often drop multiple games in a row. Well, play, I definitely think this is a game that they're not going to like. I don't blame them. There's just, they did too many things that they can control wrong. And I think that's the problem. And so hopefully they fix those things and take it to Nashville. Then they play the Islanders, who've started off pretty well. Montreal, not so good. They just lost to the Ducks. They're not, great, but you never know with them. Then they play Nashville again, but that time it's in Nashville. Then they play Arizona. I don't even know with Arizona. Arizona is like a bad team, but they keep winning, some games. They win games, so LA, they're a fine team. They beat the Bruins tonight. Just depends on what Jonathan Quick or even Phoenix Copley you get. And then they play Toronto, who's been really good, and then Vegas at the turn of the year. So, yeah, gotta get all the points you can against some of these less good teams. Some of these teams that you can expose some weaknesses on. Hopefully they do that on Saturday. That would be great because we do not like Nashville. Boo Nashville. Bad Nashville. So, yeah. Like I said, it's a shorter one. Sorry about that. It's late. I just didn't find, a lot to break down. It was just a frustrating hockey game. And, yeah, Jesus, 83 Corsi 4. I know some people would have, there are some people who are saying, oh, well, score effect. Score effects don't affect, score effects, I think, only apply to the third period, especially like, unless you're winning by 6 goals, then, or even 4 or 5. But 2 goals, nah, that's not how that works. Teams don't do that. They don't have a 2-goal lead, and they're just like, this is fine. This is the NHL. 2-goal leads disappear all the time. So, I mean, give some credit to the Avs. They, generated chances. They just need to start scoring on them, which has been the story of the past month and a half. So, hopefully that starts happening soon. So yeah, there you go. I'll see you guys on Saturday or Sunday. Have a good Friday. Make a Friday a good one. Go watch Big Lebowski. That's your assignment. Watch Big Lebowski. I'm going to watch it. You have to watch it too. There you go. That's your homework. Bye, everybody.